The House of Representatives has approved a White House request to claw back 2 years of previously approved funding for public media. The rescissions package now moves on to the Senate. This move poses a serious threat to local stations and public media as we know it. Please take a stand for public media today at goacpr.org. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to Car Talk from National Public Radio with us, Click and Clack, the Tappet Brothers. And we're broadcasting this week from the Center for Burning Issues here in Car Talk Plaza.
Indeed.
I think it was just like last week on this very show that we were discussing the issue of whether or not 16-year-olds should have their own cars.
No.
Not that there's really anything to discuss, but we were discussing it anyway.
I mean, we were talking to a caller. The caller had a 16-year-old son, I believe, and we got my 16-year-old son, Alexander, on the phone to render an opinion, at which time I once again invoked the parental bite me clause and told him it was going to be a cold day in you-know-where before he got his own car. Well, what do I find plastered all over my house the very next day? This little document. Here it is. It's known around the house now as the Alex Manifesto. Here it is. This is the agenda, I guess, or the intro for a meeting which he wants to have of the family. Here it is. I will read it to you. Alexander Thomas Magliotti, that's his name. Parking/driving proposal, 1997-98 school year. As some of you are already aware, some of you, he's talking to me. I don't know who he's talking to. As some of you are already aware, I have recently been notified by my school that my application for a parking permit for the 1997-98 academic year has been accepted, underlined. This means that at the discretion of my parents, I will be allowed to drive to school every day of the upcoming year. This is an exciting time for all involved. This sounds like the John Mongan letter. This is an exciting time for all involved, yet also a time that poses new and unfamiliar problems. The excitement, of course, stems partly from the newfound freedom which has been bestowed upon me, but more importantly in the ability for my darling mother, to whom I owe life itself, to avoid up to an hour of driving per day. Then, I mean, he says the issue of what will be the car driven by Alexander Magliotti to get to school, and he lists a whole bunch of things. He says the solution is complicated. To start, I will give you a list of automotive possibilities, both real and unreal, possible and impossible, sane and insane, to be discussed. And then he gives us, his cousin's car, because his cousin might be getting a different car. Use of the Dodge Dart once it is deemed safe to drive by the Queen of the Manor. And then other stupid, use of a car purchased exclusively for the use of Alexander. Yeah, it's serious. And then use of a car purchased in order to get to school and financed partly by the parents, get this, and partly by Alexander himself, parenthesis, with a loan from his parents.
And loans are good.
Lastly, he says, or Alexander Magliotti could continue to be chauffeured like a prince by his mother, who has far better things to do with her time than driving some snot-nosed brat around town. Now, I know what I think about this, but I'm curious to know what America thinks. So I asked the cyber babes over in the web department, to come up with a new feature for cartalk.msn.com, which we're calling the Car Talk Opinion Poll. That's it, huh? The Car Talk Opinion Poll. It's going to be,
isn't it?
A weekly poll on the burning issues of the day, and the first burning issue is this issue. So if you have an opinion on this matter and you'd like to have your vote be counted, go to the website, cartalk.msn.com, and vote for whether or not a kid 16 years old or thereabouts ought to have his own car. And we'll publish the results next week.
Yeah, sounds good.
And Alex, when the American people have spoken on this issue, you're still not going to get a car.
If you want to call us about your car, the number is 1-800-332-9287. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, this is Holly.
Hi, Holly.
And
Holly Golightly.
Well, that's how I got my name.
Really?
Yes.
Your parents saw the movie.
No.
And they
no.
No?
My husband met me when I was taking the bar review course in the 60s, and in the 60s there were almost no women at the bar review course, so if you were even reasonably attractive, you were followed around. So he asked me if I was running for office because he said he'd be happy to vote for me, and he said it reminded him of Holly Golightly.
What a line.
Yeah, pretty good.
It worked, huh?
30 years later, I'm still in office.
Not bad.
That's
Now,
good.
where are you from?
Chicago.
Chicago.
And we have a 1987 Dodge Colt.
Whoa, ho, ho.
We love it. And it has about 50,000 miles on it. And when we take it in to get gas or to get oil, we take it to one of these like Jiffy Lube type places.
Sure.
And they always push you to have these flushes done, like radiator flush and transmission flush. And I never know if that's a legitimate thing or that they're just pushing it to make extra money.
It's a fad. You know, when we were kids, our mothers gave us enemas all the time. I mean, I guess
What flush did they call that? A royal flush.
the philosophy being that can't hurt them, right? So I think it is just a fad. And I think, well, needless to say, these places that do these oil changes are trying to drum up extra money.
Oh, come on. No, the owner's manual says you're supposed to flush things at certain times. And if that's the time, then you should do it. Like most owners' manuals suggest that every 2 or 3 years you flush the cooling system.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
But
I'd be willing to bet that if you went to this place regularly,
Yeah.
or better still, see, because now that it's the computer age, they have everything on file
Yeah.
at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
So they can tell if they already sold you a cooling system flush.
Right.
But I bet you if you went to Quickie Lube place number 1, and then 6 months from now went to Quickie Lube place number 2, they would tell you to do exactly the same things that the first guys had already just done.
Oh, and that's why Holly is correct in questioning. I believe you're correct to question because these guys are motivated by greed only.
So what I should do is go to the owner's manual, you say. And to see
Yes,
how-
you should go to the owner's manual, and you should pretty much follow what the owner's manual says.
Now, it's possible that after 10 years of ownership, even though you have 50,000 miles, that nothing has been done to this car, or very little. You may never have flushed the cooling system. You may never have flushed the brake fluid or the transmission or the transaxle.
Uh-huh.
So it's possible that these things do need to be done.
Okay. But once every 10 years would do it.
Well,
Well, in your case, yeah.
I guess it's beginning to look that way.
Yeah, I mean, certainly if you haven't flushed the cooling system, boy, you should do it. Have you had this car since new?
Yeah.
Is it a Colt Vista?
No, it's the DL.
Yeah, I thought
We
so.
we love this car.
No, it's a great vehicle.
Well, I would actually rely on your owner's manual.
Okay.
And if things haven't been done, you can certainly research your own records. And if things haven't been done, then you might believe them.
Okay.
But be careful because my experience has been, and in my opinion, places like this try to sell you things that you don't need.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
But,
okay,
I mean, I suppose that their rationale is, hey, well, look, we're just reminding people that these things have to get done. And if we're not forcing them to do
They're
it.
using the enema rationale.
Exactly.
It can't hurt.
Can't hurt. So if you change the oil an extra time or you change the transmission fluid an extra time, it can't hurt. And it's true. And it will only hurt your
And it
pocketbook.
can only help them.
Okay.
See you, Holly.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Bye.
1-800-332-9287. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, this is Charlie calling from Durango, Colorado.
Durango. Hi, Charlie.
Durango.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good pronunciation.
What does that mean, Durango?
You know what? I don't actually know it.
Charlie, come on. What you...
No. I'm supposed to know all the trivia about the name.
How long have you lived in Durango?
I've been in Durango for 1 year right
Oh,
now.
well.
Oh, then you're excused.
Oh, well, thank you.
Anyway, Charlie, what's on your mind?
All right, well, let's see. I have 2 vehicles, one domestic and one import,
Yeah?
with 2 very different starter problems.
Yeah.
Okay, starting off.
Vehicle number 1.
The domestic. Okay,
Domestic.
We'll do that first.
Yeah.
It's a Chevy S10 Blazer.
Yeah.
And it's a 1986.
Mm-hmm.
And when I get in the car to start it, let's see, what would be the best description of the sound it makes? I think chunk. When I go to start it, power does go to it, and it goes chunk.
Just one time.
Just one time.
Boom.
And nothing happens.
All right.
Got it.
So,
Okay.
Okay.
in order to alleviate this problem, I took the terminals off the battery and scrubbed them with baking soda and water solution.
Very good, very good.
Olive
learned
oil
that-
is good, too.
I learned, olive oil works good too. And then I let it dry and I hooked it back up. And it has been starting regularly. However, last night, it did do the same thing again. But then, after that loud noise, chunk, I started it again, and it started no problem. So what's going on?
Okay, well, we don't know.
Well,
We're working on that.
yeah.
Give us car number B.
All right.
I have some ideas, however. I always have ideas.
We don't want to
Okay.
give the same answer to both. So
Right.
since there are
right.
several possible answers here, give us
Okay.
the foreign vehicle.
We'll mix and match.
All right. The foreign vehicle is a Mazda RX-7, 1982.
82.
And it's seen its fair share of the miles, believe me.
Yeah.
It's a very different problem because if I drive it around all day, come home, park it, the next morning, get in and try to start it, nothing happens. So I pop the hood and look under the hood and pull on the wire that goes back to the starter.
Yeah.
Get back in the car and it starts no problem, like there's nothing wrong.
Yeah. Good.
This happens all the time, so that's that problem.
Cool.
Help me out, guys.
Let's go to car B.
All right.
B.
I mean,
RB.
it seems pretty clear that it could easily be a bad connection at the starter, and by yanking on the cable,
Yeah.
you are, at least for the momentarily, that is, improving the connection.
Yeah.
By-
And it could well be that the connection is really loose. I mean,
Right.
that thing goes down to a big bolt. And it could be that bolt is loose, and by pulling on it, you're making a connection.
Oh, okay.
Could be. I mean, if you were interested, you could actually go ahead and take that wire off. There's a stud sticking out of the starter. You
Right,
could take the
right.
nut off, clean the lug with sandpaper,
Okay.
and put the nut back on.
And that'll
By
fix
the way, before you do this, make sure you remove the negative cable from the battery.
Remove the negative cable from the battery.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if
Okay.
you don't, there's going to be a lot of sparks flying down there, and you're not. And it's very, very dangerous.
Yeah, it might set your hair on fire. That's what
Guess
happened to my
little hair I
brother.
have.
People always say, "Is it very, very dangerous? How can it be dangerous if it's only 12 volts?" And the answer is, it's very dangerous because the 12 volts will never hurt you, but you'll whack your head on the hood of the car.
So that's one possibility. If that doesn't fix it, then I wouldn't hesitate to recommend a new starter for that car.
Oh, boy.
Now the Blazer,
Car 1.
car
Okay.
1.
That needs a starter. See, I wasn't going to give the same answer both
Well,
times.
unfortunately, I think so too. But if you're lucky, the starter may be loose.
Oh.
Oh, wouldn't that be good?
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be good, but
And don't
it isn't
forget,
going to be
the
true.
starter completes its electrical circuit through its own housing.
Right.
Right.
The block of the engine to which it is attached is ground.
Ah.
So if the bolts holding it to the block are loose, you don't get a complete circuit.
Right.
But my brother's dreaming. I mean, it's not that.
Well, I mean, you should be so lucky, but it could be.
That's a case of you should be so lucky.
Okay.
But you're going to need a starter for the S10.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so you may need two starters, Charlie.
Boy, this wouldn't be good.
Well, just
Not with
buy
my
one, and you could take it out and put it in the other vehicle when you want to drive the other car.
I wonder if that
I'm
would
sure
work.
they're all interchangeable.
Oh, yeah.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah, I think you need a starter for the S10, and you got a bad connection on the
But
RX.
crawl into the S10 and you'll see the starter.
Okay.
And if you can move it at all,
Then
tighten up the
definitely.
bolts, and that's going to fix that one.
All right.
You know. Oh, you could also have a weak battery. You need to test that. So I wouldn't go buying any starters until you have some tests done.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, Charlie.
Good luck,
Bye.
Charlie.
Yeah,
All
he's
right,
gonna
thanks.
When
need
you
it.
find out what Durango comes from or means, let us know.
Oh, our
I
next
certainly will.
Our next caller is going to know.
we should be able to figure it out.
No,
Durango.
don't. You always get in trouble trying to figure. This is another example of male answer syndrome. What makes you think you know the answer?
Well, because
Charlie lives there. He doesn't know the answer.
But we are Latin scholars.
We're men.
And
we're men.
I mean, Durango must mean during.
Tough.
During.
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 Enduring.
Enduring.
Yeah,
Even
it
better.
sounds like
Durango.
Yeah.
Durango.
No, I think it's a cattle rustler.
Doug thinks it means enema.
Good luck, Charlie. See you later.
Bye.
See you later.
Okay.
Hey, we've got more calls on the puzzler answer coming up right after this.
Pop Culture Happy Hour, NPR's easy breezy, laid back pop culture podcast, has brought you the best in culture for the past 15 years.
That means we spent the last 15 years talking about what exactly?
Bad reality TV, actually good Marvel movies,
Actually awful Marvel movies.
reboots, pop music,
Prestige dramas.
Netflix slop. That's 15 years of buzzy pop culture chit-chat, and here's to many more with you along for the ride. Listen to Pop Culture Happy Hour on the NPR app or wherever you get your podcasts.
At Planet Money, we know that economic jargon can sometimes feel like speaking another language.
Yeah, like arbitrage, alpha, autarky.
That's just what's in the news these days. There's also absolute advantage, aggregate demand,
Aggregate supply. And this is just the A's.
oh, animal spirits.
That's a pretty good one. Planet Money from NPR. We help you translate the economy so you can understand the world, wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to NPR because you're curious. You want to know what the world is like beyond the surface. NPR feeds that curiosity with stories from real people with real experiences and all the perspectives that come with them. It's our right to be curious and our prerogative to listen. So keep your curiosity alive. Hear the bigger picture every day on NPR.
Hey, guess what's back today?
No, surely you jest.
Yes, it is.
No.
That lawsuit that Chrysler filed 2 years ago is back. No. The Puzzler is back today
kidding.
from its summer vacation. I picked it up at the airport last night.
No kidding.
And today, in the second half of the show, we will kick off the long-anticipated fall Puzzler season.
Whoopee! Is it going to be the poison glasses?
No, I don't think so.
Centipede with 7 legs missing?
No.
How many legs does a centipede have?
12. You'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you're going to love it.
I am excited.
If you would like to call us, the number is 1-800-332-9287. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, this is Ron Hatch from La Mesa.
La Mesa, which we know means the table.
The table.
The table, right.
Yeah, what's Durango
Did you
mean?
say Ron Hadge?
Yes, I did.
A classmate of mine, Ron
a
Hadge?
classmate, a veritable classmate.
Holy cow.
No kidding. And
That's
you're
right.
still alive? Hey, Steve Corman emailed me just yesterday.
No.
And we're trying to plan a reunion of the 515 Club.
Oh, my God, that could be a disaster.
When Ron Hadge
Right.
and I were at the TOOT, as we call it, the
Right.
Massachusetts Institute of Technology, we were part of a sort of, I hate to use the word elite. It was sort of like the dregs of the Institute, the ones who couldn't afford to live on campus.
That's right.
And we commuted.
And they
But
stuck
we
you
had-
in a basement.
They
A
stuck us-
dark basement.
The bowels
basement.
of Walker Memorial.
Oh, jeez.
You remember it well,
Do
don't
I
you?
remember it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the education, though, Tom.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. But
And so we were all members of this so-called 515 Club because we were supposed to be catching the 515
right,
train
which
to
we
go
never
home.
did because we were playing bridge and
We were
drinking
playing-
beer.
Right, and
poker.
sleeping on the sofas.
Hey, Ron, it's a pleasure to hear from you.
Boy, I tell you, I've been listening to you guys, and when I first heard your show, I heard you laughing, and I said, God, that sounds an awful lot like Tom Maglione. I said, it's amazing what a degree from MIT and a PhD will do for you. I mean, you really sunk down a long way. Don't you think?
Hey,
Well, that's great. It's nice. All the small talk is nice. Let's get on to the important stuff.
All right.
You have a question or not? If not, get off.
All right, I do.
Who's this, a younger punk?
That was the alleged reason. No, but actually, I do have a question.
Yeah?
I have a 1989 Probe. It's got about 150,000 miles on it, of which the last 75,000 have had a check engine light on. So, I mean, being the kind of a techno elitist that I am, I couldn't stand to pay somebody $60 to put a voltmeter on it and tell me that it needed an oxygen defibrillator or whatever. So, I mean, here I am. I keep asking around. I figured someone will put a voltmeter on it and tell me, but no, it's all this big secrecy thing of, we have to figure it out, and it has to go to the dealer and stuff. And so,
well, you've proven that it can't have been that important.
Right, 50,000 miles later.
Where is La Mesa? In what state?
Actually, it's in just outside of San Diego.
Oh, Oh, La Mesa, California.
Yeah.
Now, when you go for your biennial smog test,
Right.
do you pass?
Yes.
Do you bribe?
No,
huh?
I guess he does. Well, if you pass, that's good. It means it's even less important than we thought. 75,000. I mean, It may just have been. I wonder what the probe.
Well, you may have a sensor that's slightly out of spec, or you may need an oxygen sensor. And the only way to really know, there are two ways you can know. You could test the oxygen sensor separately. And if you had a digital voltmeter, you could read the signal that it puts out.
Of course he's got a digital voltmeter.
Right.
Oh, yes, of course. I have one in every room.
But you'd need to know the spec. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
And you need to find out if it's putting out the right amount of juice.
Okay.
And if it isn't, then you could replace it.
On the other hand, if it hasn't destroyed the engine in 75,000 miles,
right.
If you send us $20, Ron, we will send you the Car Talk official black tape, which fits perfectly over that check engine light. It will never bother you again.
I think that's a great solution.
That's what I would do.
Okay.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah, let us know what melts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, and email me, will you?
I will.
Cool.
See ya.
Thanks for having the great show, guys.
Thanks for calling.
Really
Bye-bye,
love
Ronnie.
talking to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Jeez, another one of your...
Another self-unemployed
Another classmate of yours that survived.
They can only be, you know when you go to the reunion and they only have like one table?
Yeah.
For the class of your class? That's it.
That's it.
One
You guys
table.
are
Six
hardly
guys.
badly represented. 1-800-332-9287. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, this is Sandra from Panama City, Florida.
Hi, Sandra.
How are you?
We're fine.
Pretty good, actually.
Well, good. I've got a problem.
All right.
I drive a little 1984 Mercedes 500 SL.
Wow.
And when I pull up to a stoplight, everybody looks at this car.
Yeah.
But they don't look at the car because it's such a beautiful car. They look at it because the brakes are squealing like a stuck pig.
Ah, yes.
And I don't know what to do. I had new brake pads put on in October of 95.
Mm-hmm.
And not long after that, they started squealing again. And they put all kinds of brake dope and so forth on there, and when they put a lot of brake dope on there, the brakes wouldn't work very well. So they replaced the brake pads in August of 96. And not long after that, cotton picking things started squealing again.
How long did the non-squealing period last?
Probably only a couple of weeks.
Oh, let me guess. You are a cheapskate. I don't mean that in a bad way, Sandra.
I drive a Mercedes 500 SL. Give me a break.
But are you taking this car to the dealer for these brake pads?
I'm taking it to the dealer.
Oh, you're not a cheapskate.
No.
What are you, nuts, going to the dealer?
No, I'm a good kid.
Yeah, you can get squealing brakes for half the price anyplace else.
You can do this anywhere.
That's probably true. But they keep telling me that the brake pads have glazed over because the German brake pads are softer and all of this.
What kind of driving do you do? Do you ride the brakes?
No, I do not ride the brakes.
You don't drive with 2 feet?
No. I drive with only 1 foot.
If you are at a stoplight and you take your foot off the brake, will the car move?
Yes.
Will it go fast?
Well, I don't let it move long enough to find out.
That is without stepping on the gas.
Without stepping on the gas, if you just take your foot off the brake, will it really start moving or will it just creep an inch or so?
I haven't tried it for long enough to know if it's really...
See, one of the ways that brakes get
glazed over
like this is if the idle speed is too high. So the car is always trying to go. And so you would have a tendency to have your foot somewhat on the brake, even when you want it to just slow down a little bit, and the car just keeps wanting to go.
And that explains why I have to apply some fairly firm pressure to keep that car stopped.
Did I put my finger on this one, eh?
You might have.
I might have put my finger on this one.
But you would think that the fine technicians at your Mercedes dealership would have looked at that.
Well, a body would think so, wouldn't they?
Yeah, you'd
All
have
right,
to
so tell
think
them to turn down, suggest that they turn down that idle.
Well, at least that they check it.
Okay.
Check
at least
the
that they
idle.
check it.
What a good suggestion.
Either my brother's right, which of course is a 1 in a 400 chance of that,
that you would find highly disappointing. I heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't. I can take it.
Or they've lost interest in it. In which case,
Yeah.
I would go to another shop.
And you should not accept their answer that it's something to do with the pads that Mercedes has decided you must have. That's baloney. That's baloney.
Thank you.
And you can put aftermarket pads in this. I mean, Bendix, Wagner, all these companies, Beck Arnley, they all make pads for this car. And any of them might do the job of making the squealing go away. Who knows?
Okay.
Good luck, Sandra.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, you're going to get some messages, then you're going to get the new puzzle, so hang around.
You know those things you shout at the radio or maybe even at this very NPR podcast? On NPR's Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, we actually say those things on the radio and on the podcast. We're rude across all media. We think the news can take it. Listen to NPR's Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me wherever you get your podcasts.
With a major shift in our politics underway in this country, 1A is drilling down on what's at stake for you and our democracy. In our weekly series, If You Can Keep It, we put these changes into focus and answer your questions about the impact of the Trump administration on the U.S. Join us every Monday for If You Can Keep It on the 1A podcast from NPR and WAMU.
Recycling can feel like a lost cause, but one college student started a grassroots efforts to turn beer bottles into sand for eroding beaches.
We have some music bumping and some people are sorting. There's one person crushing and the rest of us are hand sifting the material.
Now you can come up with creative ideas by taking a second look. Double Takes. That's on the TED Radio Hour podcast from NPR.
Hey everybody, it's Ian from How to Do Everything. On our show, we attempt to answer your how-to questions. We don't know how to do anything, so we call experts. Last season, both Tom Hanks and Martha Stewart stopped by to help. Our next season is launching in just a few months, so get us your questions now by emailing howto@npr.org or calling 1-800-424-2935.
Hi, we're back. You're listening to Car Talk from National Public Radio with us, Click and Clack, the Tappert Brothers. And we're here, as always, to discuss cars, car repair, and, I guess, the new university entrance exam.
Well, it's not actually new.
University entrance exam, not the new university.
Not new university.
The new university entrance
This
exam.
has probably been in use for many years. It's just we don't know about it. This is the university entrance exam football player version. And here are some of the questions. You see if you can get these right. What language is spoken in France?
I think I have
you can handle
on
that.
Yeah.
Okay. Question 2. Write a dissertation on the ancient Babylonian Empire with particular reference to architecture, literature, law, and social conditions, or give the first name of Pierre Trudeau. Question 12. I'm skipping around here just to cross you up. Can you explain Einstein's theory of relativity? Yes, no. Advanced math. If you have 3 apples, how many apples do you have? And my favorite, 6 kings of England have been called George, the last being George VI. Name the previous 5. This explains why many football players are in college today.
Yes.
Where they should not be.
And if it weren't for football, they wouldn't be playing football.
That is correct.
Well, look, without further ado.
No, I can't. I can hardly wait.
It is time for the new puzzle.
Oh,
a long-awaited new puzzle.
It's been like 6 months,
Should we
hasn't
have a coin toss or something? Are you electing to receive or are you going to kick?
I'm going to kick. Wow.
Well, you know, the puzzler has been on vacation for 2 months, and whilst it was on its vacation, I labored long and hard to make the first puzzle of the season brilliant, sufficiently obfuscated, thrilling. I've added a new dimension.
Thrilling. In addition to folkloric?
Yes, folkloric, historic.
Historic and all that stuff.
Challenging.
Thrilling.
So I added a new dimension.
I like it.
And I have worked hard, and I think this puzzler is up to it. Now, that's the good news.
Yeah.
The bad news is it took 2 months to get a puzzler of this.
Well, I wondered.
quality.
I mean, we've discussed your strategy in the past of whether or not do you come right out with the best you have, or do you sort of lead into it slowly so that you have 2 or 3 months to get to a reasonably good one?
That never
was no
works.
good,
Yeah,
no. Okay, well, let us figure it out. You just tell us, and we'll let you know where you are on the scale.
Okay. But I want
And we will
everyone
try
to know
not to use our noses.
it may be around Christmas before the next real good one comes up, because it took 2 months to come up with this one.
Yeah.
A customer shows up at the garage the other day, an elderly gentleman who's got an old car. And he says, gee, my car's really running lousy. I need some of that fuel system additive that you guys sell. And we have this stuff, I don't know who makes it. It's composed of like lizard lips and emu eyebrows and
Aleppo galls.
And a variety of volatile organic compounds.
Oyster shells. And vinegar.
So I sell him a can of this stuff, which he's going to put into his gas tank. And I'm not really listening. He says, it's running lousy. It's getting terrible mileage. I need to do something. And he says, what do I do with this stuff? And I said, well, you put it in and you fill the tank up with gas and you drive it. So he does it. He said, is this going to help my terrible mileage? He said, it diesels when I shut it off. He said, I need to do something. I can't afford to really fix it. Will this work? And I say, I don't think so. But he buys it anyway. And off he goes. Several hours later, he calls me up. He says, I've been driving the car all day. He said, as luck would have it, I had a bunch of errands to run, but I've been in stop-and-go traffic on the highway for the last hour or two. And I said, yes, and the car is fixed. He says, well, I don't have any brakes. My brakes have failed. The pedal went down to the floor. It's being towed in. It won't get there before you close, but you'll find it tomorrow morning. So sure enough.
This is thrilling already.
It is. Anyway, we arrived the next morning to find his car with the keys under the mat. Mm-hmm. And I tell one of my guys, check out Ed's car, pull the thing in, but be careful because I think he blew a brake line or something. 20 minutes later, he hands me the keys and he says,
it's all fixed.
It's all fixed. I said, what did you do? He said, I replaced a fuse. And I said, you moron.
Oh,
the guy had no brakes. He
this
said,
is getting better and better.
I'll repeat. I replaced a fuse and the car is fixed. And indeed, it was.
Wow.
Pretty good, huh?
Wow.
Which fuse did he replace? Which number?
And was it?
How did replacing a fuse fix Ed's car? Now, if you think you know the answer, or just have nothing better to do this week, and you want to take a guess, send your answer to Puzzler Tower, Car Talk Plaza, Box 3500, Harvard Square, Cambridge.
Our fair city.
Ma 02238. Now, if you prefer, you can email us your answer from our website, cartalk.msn.com. Just click on the Talk to Car Talk section. And if we choose your answer,
Well, you got to tell everybody that because no one's heard it for 6 months.
All right, I'll do it this once. If we choose your correct answer at random from among all the correct answers, you'll get a Best of Car Talk or second Best of Car Talk CD, depending on which we have more of in that particular week. If you'd like to call us, our number is 1-800-332-9287. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
This is Jeff from Baltimore.
Jeff.
With a J or a G?
With a J.
Yeah. From Baltimore.
Uh-huh.
What's up?
Well, I have kind of a theoretical question.
Yeah.
I have a 1990 Mazda 626.
90, I have to write this down. Mazda 626.
All right already. We're still young. Come on, let's go. Let's go.
It doesn't even matter. Okay.
I was listening to the radio the other day. Excuse me, Jeff, but there is a guy who's been on the radio in the Boston area probably for 50 years, and what he does is he has a cooking show. And people, I've mentioned this before, people call him with recipes, and he writes them down as they give it to them
and
repeats everything that they say.
For example, we'll reenact a little piece.
Who is the guy anyway? Do you know?
I think his name is Gus Saunders.
It could be. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I would call and say, Gus, I've got a great recipe for banana bread. And he says, oh, yeah,
great.
Well,
Let's
sure.
hear it.
Let's hear it. 2 cups flour.
2 cups flour.
17 bananas.
17 ripe bananas.
Right. Bananas.
And the show goes on and on like that until you just doze off. I mean, do not ever listen to
Why
this
you driving?
while driving at high speed or operating dangerous machinery. He must be a charming guy, and he must have a tremendous patience.
And the people who listen must have
and a good contract.
Great contract.
Anyway, Jeff.
Okay,
now
that
we
was
know
a Mazda 626. Okay, yeah, Jeff.
So I had a squealing belt.
Yeah.
And, I pretty much ignored it. It only happened when I was starting up and maybe sometimes when I turned on the AC. And I lived with it. And then, of course, one day I was just gotten on the highway to drive back from Washington to Baltimore. It's about 30 highway miles. And I heard a thump. And the light came on. The check engine light came on.
Yeah.
And I knew right away the belt had broken.
Yeah, it was the check belt light.
The check belt light.
Yeah.
So it's a two-part question. It's about 30 highway miles. Could I have driven all the way home?
Yes.
No. Well,
what time of year was it?
What?
What month was it?
August.
No.
Maybe. A 9626 may have the timing belt that drives the water pump.
Yes, that's what I'm worried about.
In which case, you may have been able to drive considerable distance as long as the battery held out.
So what's the answer? Maybe?
The answer is maybe.
I know the answer is you want the answer to be maybe because you drove the whole 30 miles.
No,
didn't
he
you?
didn't.
He did.
Well, let me get to part B.
Part B.
Part B was, could I run the AC?
Yes. You did that too.
No, I actually did neither. I pulled over.
Yeah, no, there are two things that you have to worry about. One is overheating.
Right.
Because if the water pump isn't turning,
it'll melt.
Then you fry the engine.
But you would have known. How far did you drive it?
Oh, just to the next exit, and there was a gas station.
How far was that?
How far? Less than a mile.
Less than a mile, yeah. And the other thing you have to worry about is having electricity because, as you may know, the engine runs on electricity even though you put gasoline in it. The electricity would have made it because all it's doing is feeding the spark plugs with spark, which is very low current drain.
Right.
As long as you didn't do anything silly like turn on the air conditioner.
Right, which represents a big current drain.
That's a big current drain. But certainly the battery would have lasted for 30 miles.
I see.
But whether or not it would have overheated, we don't know because we don't know what runs the water pump.
So I could have done it and kept an eye on the
temperature gauge. Correct.
Does this car have one big belt or does it have several belts?
I think it has several, but...
It has several. So the air conditioner belt may have been intact,
right.
but it was the alternator belt that snapped. And it snapped because it was 100 years old. You must have, let me see, a 9626. You must have 88,000 miles on this
That's
thing.
exactly right.
Yeah, and you never changed the belts.
Well, I don't know.
Until the other day.
He doesn't know.
I did now, yeah.
Okay, well, while you're at it, you might want to have someone change the timing belt. Just a suggestion.
Oh, I did do that at 60.
Oh, you did?
Yes. Was that the right thing to do?
That was good.
That was cool.
But that was a good question, you know?
Okay.
That's it.
Thanks.
Piece of cake. See you, Jeff.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, it's happened again.
What?
You've frittered away another hour listening to Car Talk. Our esteemed producer is Doug the Subway Fugitive, not a slave to fashion Berman. Our associate producer and dean of the College of Automusicology is Ken Babyface Rogers. Our assistant producer is Catherine Ray. And our soon-to-be departing engineer is Karen. Thank you. I've already given. Our technical, spiritual, and menu advisor is John Bugsy, free lunch Grandpa Lawler.
Yeah.
Our public opinion pollster is Paul Murky of Murky Research, assisted by statistician Margin of Error. Our director of new product repair is Warren T. Myfoot. Our staff butler from the Car Talk Mumbai division is Mahatma Kote. Our document security expert from the island of Jamaica is Euripides Upman. And our Italian governess is Donna De Evalern. Our evasive driving instructor is Vera Bruckley. Our director of moral support is Hugh Demand. Our director of Isuzu Trooper testing is Carl Flip. Chairman of the Federal Lubrication Board is Alan Greaseband. And our Leo Tolstoy biographer is Warren Peace, author of Leo Tolstoy by Warren Peace. Our chief counsel from the law firm of Dewey, Cheap & Howe is Hugh Lewis Dewey, known on the benches and even under of Harvard Square as Huey Louie Dewey. Thanks so much for listening. We're Click and Clack the Tappet Brothers. And remember, whatever you do in life, do not, I repeat, do not drive like my brother.
Don't drive like my brother.
We'll be back next week. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
And now, with an important announcement, here is Car Talk Plaza's chief mechanic, Mr. Vinny Gumbaz. Vinny.
All right, now listen up. you just want a copy of this here Car Talk show, which is number 37, here's what you're going to do, all right?
You're going to give people the phone number to call, Vinny?
No, I'm just going to sit here until they guess our number, you moron. The number to call is 303-823-8000.
And what's the number if you want a Best of Car Talk CD or other Car Talk stuff, Vinny?
Do I got to stick this microphone in your mouth to get you to shut up or what?
I'm sorry.
For Car Talk CDs, cassettes, T-shirts, etc., you call 303-823-8000, or you visit our Shameless Commerce division at cartalk.msn.com. You got anything to add, Mr. Radio Man?
No.
Good. Car Talk is a production of Dewey, Cheatham and Howe and WBUR in Boston.
And even though Sylvia Poggioli smacks herself in the forehead every time she hears us say it, this is NPR, National Public Radio.
What would you think if you saw a robot dog out for a walk in your neighborhood?
What the hell is that? Oh my God.
This is Basha. She's hanging out with us. So could I have a medium?
Double takes, and how they can change your point of view. That's on the TED Radio Hour podcast from NPR.
Here on The Indicator from Planet Money, we fanned out across the country to ask how you are feeling about the 2025 economy.
Anxious, uncertain,
unfair,
turbulent,
crazy.
We don't just recite the headlines, we show you how the economy is affecting your life in 10 minutes or less. Each weekday, listen to The Indicator from Planet Money, wherever you get your podcasts.
You have your job, but you also have a life. And you're not just one thing. Neither is the Here and Now Anytime podcast. Every weekday, we break down the biggest story of the day and something else, like a new trend everyone's talking about. It's Here and Now Anytime, a daily podcast from NPR and WBUR.